Hi everyone, welcome back to Rippentuck. Do you want to build a snowman? Well, you're in luck because I just happen to have a video that shows you how to make this cute snowman from beginning to end, from cutting out the wood to painting to assembling. And the pattern is in the description. And it's free. This is for beginners or someone advanced at painting. But it's a lot of fun to make, to give away or keep for yourself. So I hope you follow along, like, share, subscribe to my channel because there'll be more like this. Today I'm at my son's wood shop. Right now I'm just going to set up the camera and I'm just going to start marking out my patterns and cutting them out. This is the brim of the hat of the snowman. This is the snowman's nose. This is the snowman's body. And then I need to cut out 2 arms. I'm just going to break this down into some smaller pieces so I can handle it easier. This is a 16-inch wood bandsaw, and it's an old bandsaw, but boy does she cut good. Now there are times when she gets irritated and she might pop the bandsaw blade off, but if you don't put a lot of pressure against her, she does a great job. So here we go. Okay, so I cut the arm out, one arm out on the bandsaw. Bandsaws cannot make these sharp turns, so you have to go in, go in, and back out like that. Where a scroll saw will actually go in and turn that, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, so this is a scroll saw. Actually what the length is, but this is a variable speed, so you can go slow, you can go fast. But let me show you how this will cut. This is that carrot nose. Now I could do this on the bandsaw, but it would take me a while. But here I can just go in and out and non-stop. So let me show you. Okay, so we cut that out without having to stop. We were able to go all the way around. Now you'll see on this side, you got a nice smooth side. This side is a little rough. Normally, I use blades that have the reverse teeth. That means so many of those teeth are going to be facing downward, and then the bottom ones there's going to be about this much is going to be facing upward, and that knocks that burr off on both sides. As you can see, it's longer than the neck, so it won't work. But we'll do it on the bandsaw. And it's done. Now we're done cutting out, but now we have to sand the pieces. Okay, so we're done. Next up, painting. And we're actually going to do one coat, let it dry, and then we're going to take a fine piece of sandpaper and we're going to sand it down. Okay, now we're ready to do a second coat. To go back, hit your back side, hit the front, smooth it out. Do you see these little things? They're just like paint, I don't know what you want to call them, but I call them goobers. So I want to make sure that I have no goobers on my flat side. All right, dry and no goobers. Here's what we're going to do. We want to take our brim. We're just going to lay it to where it just barely comes up over the hat, the cut right here. Bring it in about right there. About right like that. And we're just going to mark this. We know this is all black and the rest is the other color. Okay, make sure you get that all smoothed out nice. Come along the edges. Make sure that's all smooth. Okay, now we're going to let this dry. This is dry and ready to start again. So feel over it and make sure you don't feel any humps. If you do, now's the time to knock them off. I see a couple here. I'm just going to tap. So now we're going to put another coat of paint on. Always paint with the grain of your wood. Take your brush and go with the grain. There we go. All right. Now, we still have the back to do, and we have the hat to do in black, but I'm going to set this aside for a little bit because I want it to get good and dry. So I'll put it over here. The next, we can start with the hat. One coat sand, another coat. Make sure you get the front and the back wiped down. Sand it off if you need to. 2 coats on the front, at least 1 coat on the back, whether it be a stain or paint, whatever. At the end, we'll give it a spray varnish, or we'll do a liquid varnish to cover the whole project, so it'll be weather treated. I'm going to use the apple barrel because I have no problem with Walmart brand. They carry the apple barrel paints. I just tried to get the matte because I don't like the glossy finish. Now maybe if it was a Halloween project, something like that, yeah, because I would want it to be shiny. But for projects like this, we're going to go with just the black matte. Let's set that down there and let that dry. Make sure got all that off of the edge. We're ready to put the second coat on. Clean my brush out. Let's get this coat on here. Let that dry. Put another coat on it. And then we will start with the arms. And they are going to be with a burnt umber from Apple Barrel. Burnt umber. Or you can use nutmeg brown if you want. So now let's get the front of this hat painted, and we want to make sure we don't go past this line. So try to stay as close to it as possible. And make sure, as I said, go with the grain of the wood, but I know you can't help that sometimes. So we just want to make sure first. Okay. So the snowman body is done, except for the highlighting and the features in the face, which we'll do that, but I want to continue base coating the other things. All right, so here we go. What are we doing? The edges first. Okay, let me sand this one off. Okay. I didn't do 2 coats on the side, did I? Okay, well that's not a problem. I'm just gotta go back and do it. As you can see, I didn't do it. No. It won't hurt nothing. Let's go in and hit this. How many of you caught that as I was doing it? I'm going to start on the carrot nose, and any orange color will work. This is a brand folk art that I have here that I honestly, let's see what color it is if I can see. It's called Pure Orange. So you know, you don't want it, I don't want it to be a real light orange, and I don't want it to be a like bright orange. I want it to be a rustic orange. So I'm going to use this. Okay. Very deep orange, which I like it. It's nice. And I would like to throw in a quick disclaimer here. I am not a professional artist. This is a technique that I have learned over the years, and it's just what I've done. It may not be correct to some professionals, but it works for me. Okay. Actually, I can go ahead and hit the top of this. It is, let me show it to you. It's the Apple Barrel Toucan Red. Let's get this back side one coat. Okay, I'm really liking this darker red on the cardinal. It started on some shading. Okay, the more I look at the carrot nose, it's just a little bit too bright for me. So what I'm going to do is mix some of the orange and some burnt umber, the Apple Barrel burnt umber paint together, and I'm just going to tone this down some. So let me see here. Use this brush here, and what I'm going to do is get a little bit of the orange and some of the brown together. And like I said, we just want to tone it down a little bit, and we're just going to kind of like, it's kind of like dry brushing, but it's, I don't know how to, what the verbal, trying to maybe antique it a little bit to where it looks a little bit like rustic, more old looking. And you can see the difference already just by doing a little bit of that, adding some of that brown on there. So just take your brush, get it wet, and then just mix it with some of the orange and the brown, and just kind of put it on here to brush it on like this. Pretty simple. That kind of takes the brightness away. Okay. And then once that dries, I'm going to take some black and some brown together. Just a little bit. Just a little bit there. Maybe put this right here so you can see it. So let me dip my brush in some water. And let's just hold it down and take some of that water out of there. Then I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to put half, like the side of it, in the brown, and just a tad in the black. I'm going to mix these up, get these mixed up together. Then what we're going to do is just lay our brush down and slowly come around like this. Do that again, but this time just pick up the brown. It's going to give it. Pull this back like this. Do the same thing over here. Bring it around, bring it around, and bring it around. Like that. There. Now if you feel you have too much brown in there, then pick up some orange. Bring it back in. There. Then I'm going to take my thin brush. This is a liner. Just want to take a little bit of black, a little bit of brown. Mix those together. And just going to make some lines here. Like that. And that's done. Now let's look at the hands. So here's the hands, and remember the collar of the snowman was an antiquish white, so we're going to need to get that back out again. And let's get some in our, do some highlighting here. So let's grab a little bit of this. If it's too bright, which I think that's a little bit too bright, grab a little bit of the brown, mix in with it. That. What we're going to do is just put some strokes on here just to give it some character. You know, it's nothing great. I mean, just kind of do something like this and then maybe come down this way with it just to give it some character like that. Do that one. This side, just this. And then same way over here a little bit. If you want it more detailed, just pick up some brighter color like that. Give it. This. And then we're just going to basically go down the arm like this with it. Picking up some, throwing it on here. This, like I said, is just to give it some texture. Make it look like it's snow. And that's done. The other arm. Do the same thing, just kind of move it around like this. then I think what I'll do is I will take my liner, pick up that white, just to give some like a little bit more texture like this. It's nothing, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just whatever you like to do. Okay. So the arms are done, the nose is done. Now let's go to Mr. Cardinal. And you can use your pattern or just kind of draw it out here. You're just going to have like a, this is, you can see this? Then we're going to have the eye like right in here. And then of course, you know, and then you go the rest with the feathers. So let's take our liner brush and let's black. We're going to need a couple coats of this black one here. And take it all the way around. And then I'm going to need some goldish brown beak. We're going to use the Golden Sunset from Apple Barrel. to do some shading around the bird. And I'm going to use black for that. Remember, mix this with water. Guess I should have showed you. Dip it in water. Take some of the water off of it. Dip it in the side. Like this. Just run it along. Okay. Some more. If you want a sharper point, you gotta bring it up. Now take your paint, your liner brush, turn it the other way, dip it down in your black paint, get that on there, and then just touch that in the eye. Roll it around a little bit. Ah, didn't get enough. Gotta get enough on there. Huh. Okay. So now I just want to leave some like feathers. Make it look like there's some feather, you know. That's this side. Now we got to do the other side. Okay, so the carrot now nose, we definitely want to add some little things here. Get some of that off there. So we're going to just kind of, the theory is it's snow. This. Very nice. If you pull it just right, you'll get these little streaks, which is great. There we go. Okay. And, okay, I'm going to give him some of these too. Or her, I'm not sure. Is the all red cardinal, is it the male or the female? I'm not sure. I have to look that up. So let's add a little bit of collar here. Go right up the tail, like that. Very nice. Okay. So let's let that dry. And okay, so we can go ahead with the brim of the hat. What we're going to do with this is the same thing that we did earlier with the brush strokes. Just get that white and get your front here. So we're just going to bring this around like this, like this. That. And we're going to keep doing it, but we're going to kind of like give it a gap there. Yes. Kind of spontaneously. Yeah, not perfect, but find the middle, maybe bring some down like this. For the middle. A few more here. Start going this way. Hope that you can see this. Start bringing these down. There's going to be longer ones. How we want it. Okay, I think I'm going to wait on the back until I'm done. But I am going to go ahead and transfer face. We can go ahead and do the hat. So let's get a brush, some paint on it. Okay, now our brim is going to fit right here. So you can see you just want to kind of go down to there. And okay, go up here. They do not have to be identical to mine, just something close. Okay. So what we want to do is we're going to load our liner up with our paint. And I'm going to move these for some. Okay. So I've got my liner, got a lot of paint on it. So I'm just going to drop and pull. Try to slide it as easily as you can. Don't let your hands get stuck. And I found it's easier if you pull it towards you. Okay. Now we want to find a brush that has a big bottom to it. That one I don't think is big enough, and I want it a little bit flatter than that. Sometimes a pen works. Let me see this thing here. This might work okay. Try this off. See how flat that is and big? Because I'm going to dot it now. But I don't know how big these are going to be. Go 1, 2, and we're going to want to go 1, 2. Those aren't big enough. You have to rock them a little bit. So the thing is, you go 2, 1, 2, 1, so let's get these eyes put in here. So I want to thin out my paint a little bit, my black paint, so it'll go in there easier. make these eyelashes. Let me find something that I can paint on. Let's use this thing here. The consistency of your paint by mixing it with water, the spreading consistency, and the pressure. So let's imagine we're going to do some eyelashes. So what we want is an eyelash that's going to be thicker at one end but thinner at the other. So what you're going to do is you start out, and as you push down, it gets wide, but as you come back, lift up. Lift up. That'll give you your point. Lift up. Lift up. So with the eyelashes, we can pretty simple. Now we need to put in our blush. It's red and the off-white, so I can just barely bring this in here. And I can make my pink blush. May want a little bit more. Let's see how she looks here. Because I'm going to want a couple shades here, colors. But I want that to be just a little bit darker, so especially on the edges. So what I did was took the antique white, and I took the Tuscan red, just a small amount of Tuscan red, and blended those together to get this pinky shade. But now I still want a little bit of fleshy look to it. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going for. Now, what I really want to do is I want to get the outside edges of this. Folk art skin tone. Okay, that with maybe some red. And then just pull it in, but leave that on the outside edge. Okay, and you can see the difference in the colors. Okay. So let's do that again with the other one. Now we need some more of the off-white because I need to do the eyeball. And these are going to be pretty big, so we're going to go with the bigger one. Here, let's see how big that is. Take a little bit of that off-white, kind of do some highlight here. Okay, so let's get this here. And what we're going to do is just bring this down like this. We have a scarf that goes over top around the neck here, so it'll cover up. So all we're doing is just putting this dipping the side of the brush in, just putting it on the corner and blending it in. Now I'm going to just like dry brush, but I gotta get my brush cleaned out first with water. Then I'm going to get some of this brown, and I just want to streak a little bit of it down through here. Even though this, we won't see this because of the wreaths. So I just like to add a little bit of color there. And even in the face, looks like it could use a little something through here. This. Okay, we're going to paint our shovel, snow shovel, and it's got a little sticker here, so the best way I found to take these stickers off, just turn on your heat gun and heat that up and it'll just pop right off there. And there it goes, peels right off. Now the first coat that I put on this shovel is, I'm going to use, it's a bonding primer sealer, and it just helps the acrylic paint to adhere to the metal or plastic, whatever you're using, whatever you may be using. So I'm going to get this opened. And we don't want to get the wood, paint on the wood part. I just leave it the natural color. But if you feel you need to, you can always put a piece of tape around there to keep it from slipping and hitting the wood. Do front and back. This dry, or I will dry it, I guess, with the heat gun. Now I've went ahead and I mixed up burnt umber, the apple barrel burnt umber, and some drops of the nutmeg brown, and I've mixed those together, and that's the coat I'm going to put over top. So I'm going to set this over here, out of the way. Now what's our next step? I know I still have to do a little bit on the face with the eyes, but the arms are done, the nose is done, the brim is done. So I will work with the eyes. I think I'll take my liner and just put a few little, maybe look like little stars or sparklies. Very light. Yeah, just something like that. So now what I need to do is get that brim glued on there, and then we still have to do the back side of this. All the other pieces, the back side's done. Don't like to do it this way, but I need to go get my staple gun, get that stapled on there. Now, this snowman is going to have a wreath, and I picked these up at the Dollar Tree for $1.25, and they're pretty sparingly, but they work fine. Maybe after Christmas, if you might be able to find better looking ones, or you can put two of these together. And I do that sometimes. If they just don't want to fluff up good, then I will put two together to make it look better. So what we want to do is take this while these other things are drying, and let's fluff them up. And we'll see if we want to put two together. Now, I look at that and, you know, it's okay, but I'd really like it to be a little bit fuller, so let me see what it'll do if I put two together. See if that improves it. Just gonna lay these down so I can put it in the middle of it. We can just wrap these around at certain spots to hold it together. Already it looks fuller. It looks better. So I would recommend having two of them. It's going to go in there hanging. And then I'm going to have some snowflakes hanging. And I want some berries. I have some berries over here that I will hot glue in there. We'll do that when we're ready. But definitely I would say two together. It looks so much fluffier, so much better with two. Okay, so the wreath is ready, other than putting the Snow Tech came today. So get this put on here so that it can be drying. Look at this as if it was setting up outside and it was snowing. Where would snow be piled up on it at? Be up on the handles, maybe down in the crevices. This on top. This is kind of dry. Wow. I need to add water to it, or okay, maybe there's a couple streaks. Okay, let that dry now. It's amazing how just a little detail like this just changes the looks. It makes it look so much more natural. Wow, this stuff's messy. Very messy. Well, I did this thinking that it would painted both sides, but I guess maybe not going to be needed. Okay, so this is pretty much done, but I will still do the, have to tie the shovel to the wreath, but I'm going to set it over here for now. So now I need to go back to my garage and I'm going to grind off these nails and then I'll be back. Okay, now that I've got that ground off, you can see I went down below the wood, went in at an angle so I could make sure that there's no rough edges. And it's nice and smooth. So, and I drilled 2 holes up here so I could put my wire through to hold it. But right now I want to touch up where those nails are. Like that. And now I need the orange. Or brown. Probably just go with the brown. Touch that like that. Okay, so we're going to speckle. So the first thing I'm going to start with is some white, and I want just a little dab. Don't need a whole lot of white. Like that. And I need water. Speckle effect. Down the arms. Nose and the eyes. Okay. So I say it don't take much. The white. Let's get a little bit of brown. Okay. Red. Just a touch. I notice that white just isn't popping up, but okay, so that's all I'm going to do with that. I do need to put some on the cardinal though, and the shovel. A little bit more of this up here. Give me my fan brush. I really want some white. There we go. Think. Good. That's good. Okay. Now I've got to let this dry. Then I want to staple this wreath on the snowman when it's good and dry, and I need to do the back, paint the back of it, and then put the scarf on. And I think we are about done. See how darling this looks. Okay, so now we want to get the back side done, finished. Okay, the back is done. Now, as for the ribbon that goes around the snowman, you can use whatever you want. I was looking for a rustic collars. Okay, let's get our hot glue hot. Okay, now I'm going to staple the wreath on there. I'm going to throw a little bit more snow on there. Stop while it looks good. And there's only one thing I want to do, and it's bothering me because I know it's back there, and that's where I put the staples in. I had to grind them off, and there's a couple places in the back where it needs to be touched up, so I'm going to do that because it's bugging me. And really won't take much to do that. I'm going to go ahead and show you the varnish or the spray coat I use. It seals, protects. It's a clear matte. What I do is just give the wood coat, and I'll go ahead and spray this. Just a fine coat. And that's it. But I am going to take my snowman outside and we're going to give him a good coat. What I do is I grab hold of the wire and I twist it around like this. Pull it out. Turn it sideways. Pull it through. And then do the same over here. Okay, there's that. So let's take this outside, or I will take this outside and get it sprayed. So this snowman is done.